Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday. I hope everyone's doing really, really well. Today's live, we're talking about how to identify exactly what's keeping you stuck so that you can breeze through resistance and get shit done. I've got a freebie for you all which will help you with this exact thing, and it's all about beating your own bullshit, embracing who you are, so that you can get shit done, because we all need to just get shit done, don't we? And if you want to get a copy of that, then either DM me or pop a comment down in the comments section, or the links in my bio as well. And it's a fucking fabulous resource. It's a 40-page PDF with shitloads of stuff on it. 10 steps. There's also journal prompts for aligned action every day. There's a Notion template which takes you through your 7 days of self-awareness cycle so that you can actually track what's going on for you, when, you know, your energy levels, things like that, that are only going to help you to identify those areas where you need to kind of adjust things in your favour so that you can become more aligned and move forward and level the fuck up. There's also, recorded it as a video masterclass as well, so you can have access to that, and audio files if you want to download them and listen to them while you're, I don't know, doing your shopping in Tesco's or whatever. So today I've got the lovely Shannin, more than just a social media manager. She's been on live with me before. Fucking love this chick. Social media, like business coaching for soulpreneurs, those of us who are like purpose-led, soul-driven, people that are actually, you know, have got that mission in their businesses to serve as well and put that fucking awesome shit out into the world. They're the people that Shannin works with, me being one of them, obviously. So let's welcome Shannin into the mix, and we'll talk about, we're going to be probably getting a bit personal on this one, I think. You know, obviously there's going to be some pragmatic advice for everybody, but also we'll kind of, you know, both of us want to be open and share our stories and share our experiences as well. So if anything resonates, obviously pop a little comment in and give us a little heart. Right, let's get Shan in, shall we? Sort of earlier on, I accidentally went live. And I was like, oh no, whoops. Come on.
Oh,
Hi, bye.
hello. How you doing?
Very, very well. See, Shannon and I literally just got off of a Zoom call and then like went 15 minutes, whack a bit of slap on, can get on Instagram live. Like that's how we do it, and just like bish bash bosh, get shit done.
Yes, yes. You'll be glad to know I have my I am fucking fabulous coffee mug and I'm ready to go.
I've got resting witch face today.
Love that. I didn't even see that.
I love it. It's brilliant, isn't it? My niece bought it for me.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't really know what it kind of means. What does it mean? What does it mean? All right, cheers, mate. So we're going to be talking about how to identify exactly what is keeping you stuck. Obviously, it varies from person to person, and I think that, like from my perspective, obviously I'm always going to go straight in with the self-awareness and kind of like self-reflection, introspection, all of those things. But I think it's really, really important to say right from the get-go that actually having conversations with other people is the easiest way to actually figure this stuff out. Like the amount of epiphanies you have when you've got a sounding board. It's all very well sitting and, you know, journaling and going through the process alone. But if you've got somebody else who you're working with who can literally pick that shit out of you and pull it out, and you have these epiphany moments where you're like, holy crap, sometimes you need that mirror held up, don't you?
Absolutely. It's interesting what you said here because there's something over the past 2 weeks that has landed for me in a totally different way. And it's that's what you said is 100% right. Yes, I've had a lot of breakthroughs from speaking to people about where I'm at, and vice versa, being able to help other people when they speak to me about it, and we, you know, literally are talking it out. But it's when I take that information and I go and sit quietly with it, and I just actually let it land, that the major shifts have happened. So I don't know when you want me to insert what the hell has been happening with me over the past 2 weeks, but we'll start off with that and I'll let you take it from there.
Well, no, I'm intrigued. Like, pray tell. Why not? Let's start there. It seems obvious,
Okay.
doesn't it?
Yeah, okay. So over the past about 2 and a bit weeks, I totally pulled back from social media. I didn't post anything, hardly anything on my page, one or two things on my stories that I posted. But I did this totally differently than I've ever done before. In the past, I've always had this sort of like, what are people going to think about me? Because here I am telling you how to be consistent. I'm telling you why consistency is important. And yet, I am intentionally taking 2 weeks away. The amount of time wasn't really the thing for me. I didn't sit back and think I'm going to do it for 14 days and on this day I'm coming back. My intention was I'm going to back off because I just want to get to the point of why did I do that? And this is important, specifically for the kind of people that you called out when you first started this live stream, right? Oftentimes, we can get so distracted by everything that we see when we're in it that the specialness of what we actually want to achieve gets watered down. It gets dissolved into what everyone else says. And I found myself worrying that I was heading in that direction. Now, I really don't care what people think about me after this. I would rather be honest about all of this and tell you what I've done to rectify it and how you can do the same for yourself than come on here and be like, you need to be this, and this is going to change your life, I think all of us need to get down to a level of that we're all growing, we're all experiencing together, and where one can help the other one, that, everybody, like, I can help you with something, you can help me with something. And so from that spirit, over the past 2 weeks, when I did do this pullback, what I really had noticed before that is the sort of like masculine energy of, I'm going to put out content no matter what. I've set myself this goal of be consistent, right? And so what can start to happen out of that energy is just to push out whatever, just to get something out there, when actually what's more important is the message. Now, how to find the balance of those things, right? And this is why I pulled back, so that I could connect again deeply to what I want to achieve by posting content. What are the kind of people that I want to work with? Reconnecting to all of those things. And to go to your point about what I was stuck with was actually telling people what I can actually help them with on a much different level to what other people in my niche are doing, or in my industry, shall we say, right? With social media coaching and personal brand stuff and social media management and all those kind of things, there's this very masculine energy, I feel. And that's not me. I have so much more to offer than just that. And how to incorporate that into what I share is what I've been sitting with. And in that space, right, now I've come kind of out of this period in the course of this week. I'll just be honest, right? And earlier this week, I had 2 calls with 2 of my clients. And as a result of this pulling back phase, cutting down everything from my to-do list that wasn't life or death to give me more time and space to feel, to connect, to be, is now in this week, when I've had these 2 calls with 2 existing clients that I've worked with for, more than 2 months each, is where I had a really amazing shift with them in those sessions, because I wasn't afraid to be vulnerable with them. I wasn't afraid to show them the side of me that I've been holding back. And I think so many of us, especially in this community, are guilty of that. We hold back that thing that's really special about us and that can really help other people, because what are people going to think of me? However, we can't change the status quo if we all keep hiding. So that's the gist of it. Go for it.
That sounds amazing. I think, like, it's so, the self-awareness you had when you sort of decide in that moment, you were like, hang on a minute, like, I'm going off here somewhere that on a path I don't like where it's leading me, so I need to stop for a minute and fucking refocus, figure my shit out in order to move forward in a more aligned way that's actually going to take you on the path to where it is that you want to go. And that's the thing, is like a couple of things kind of spring to mind. So you're always talking, when we talk about who we're talking to in our audiences and stuff like that, what we can do for people, a lot of the time people get stuck because they're talking to the people who are in their audience rather than talking to the people who they want their audience to be, if that makes sense. So you're not like, do you know what I mean? So you're kind of like boxing yourself in and sticking and getting stuck where you're at because you're talking to the people where you're at. You're not talking to the people of where it is that you want to go, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. And the other thing that you're saying as well about the masculine side of it, me, awful, I get stuck so badly when I have to bring in the masculine. I mean, I operate in quite a masculine energy most of the time, so actually 9 times out of 10 I have to remind myself to put in the feminine, because I'm just like rah, rah, rah. But in terms of me talking about what it is that I do with people and how I can help them, I get stuck in the pragmatics. So if you, as you well know, if I can just blurt it all out and just talk about it and all like free flow with it, it comes out how it should. If I've got a set of rules that I have to stick to in how I fucking explain myself, and it has to, you know, and there's this like process in messaging, a lot of people are great because having that structure there, and they're like, oh, this makes sense, that's going to help me to piece this together. Me, out the window straight away. Literally, it stifles me, and then I get stuck thinking, well, I can't say anything because I'm not saying it in the way that it should be said. And I feel like, hang on a minute, who's fair enough, there's a strategy there, and I'm not knocking the strategy, it works, but it doesn't work for me, it paralyzes me. So the best thing for me to do is to say, do you know what, fuck the rules, you know, actually what I need to do is do it in a way that works for me, so that the message is there regardless. The right people are going to hear it regardless of whether I take you on this fancy fucking journey through the you know, the strategic structure of how to write a flipping post or whatever. I'm like, send. And that works better for me. And so I'm kind of like, you know, my messaging always like will go back to the core value of everyone has the right to be who they are and live how they want to live, and you need to absolutely fully accept yourself in order to be able to move forward, and in business certainly to reach the right people and to help the right people with your special fucking shit. So it's kind of like embracing my own message in that way, and part of that is saying to people, you know, you are allowed to do it however you fucking want to do it, you know, or do it like this for now, do it how you want to do it for now. And then after a while, then start to implement the pragmatics. You don't have to structure this shit to the nth degree every single time. I mean, I literally can't. When people talk about time blocking, oh, do this task on these. No, can't do it. I sit down, like, I don't want to do that. I don't. So, you know, I've got an ultimate to-do list. So it's like, okay, on a Monday, here's my ultimate to-do list. The deadline is Friday for all this stuff. So I go, what do I fancy? It's all got to be done. So I'll pick that, you know, pick that thing. It's got to be done anyway. And that really, really works for me. I've got a good deadline. It's short enough to motivate me, but it's not so close that it freaks me out and overwhelms. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just figuring this out for yourself. I really think that's like figuring out these stumbling blocks and hurdles and challenges, because the perception is I should be doing it in this way, I should be doing it in that way, and then when you have a block there, you feel like, why can't I do it like everyone else is doing it? You know, why? And you start to berate yourself. Like, oh, am I stupid? Like, why am I incapable? You're not incapable, it just don't suit you. Find a way that suits you. Like, that's how I see it. And it is really easy. It can be that simple, can't it?
So many beautiful things that you just said here. And please, if anyone's watching this on the replay, I have a little book that I write notes. So if you see me looking down, it's not because I'm bored or falling asleep. It's because I'm furiously scribbling so that I don't forget these beautiful points. Firstly, something you said there made me think about a conversation I was having with somebody in the DMs recently about things being co-equal. It's like a bit of an opening of what we spoke about just a little while ago. There's this thing on social media where it's like business people or consultants or coaches or people that are, we get this messaging that it's all about, which isn't really relevant to this conversation, but co-equal conversations. It's so much easier to connect with somebody in the DMs if you can share.
Right, well, it looks like we've lost Shannin. I'm sure she'll come back again. Hopefully. Bloody connection issues. Shannin, come back to us, baby. Oh boy, we've just got an oh boy from Shannin. Hold on to the point that you were trying to make there, Shannin. I'm going to talk until you get your connection back. So going back to what I was saying about finding your own, what works for you and finding your own way. It's quite flippant to say that, like, oh, just find what works for you. But I found that actually really identifying that, obviously that is hugely important for a start, but how to identify that is tracking, just even if it's just a week. I can't have like a freaking month tracker because I'll just be like, I'll do it for 4 days and I won't do it after that. But if it's a week where I'm tracking, okay, where are my energy levels, where do I feel most creative, what's this, and questioning myself and actually identifying certain moments throughout the day, that's how I've been able to figure out what works for me and what doesn't. So when other people say, oh, well, so one of my clients, for example, will give me like little bits of work in, because I'm a copywriter by trade, she might give me work like, oh, here's a little bit, don't want to overwhelm you. And I'm like, you're not going to overwhelm me. I need more. I need to see more in order to do more. I need the stimulation. So it's, again, we've had to figure out that, okay, that's how you would work, but how I work is completely different. And somewhere we've got to sort of meet in the middle for work for, for me personally in that sort of, instance. But anyway, I digress. Shannon's back. Oh!
Hello, Camille. Sorry about that connection issue. What can we do? I saw the very delicious look that I was frozen on my face, like
it just went sort of like that. It went pixelated my end, so I wasn't sure. But I mean, I've watched one of my lives back where I froze, and I'm like,
always the hard.
Oh, you're so fit, Lou. So fit. Nice.
Oh my
Hi,
gosh.
Camille. Lovely Camille. Come to say hey.
Where did you lose me? I think I was talking about co-equal in the conversation.
And then it all just went tits up. So start from the beginning. Co-equal.
Cool. All right. So we were talking about, well, I was trying to add to the point that you were making, is that there's this kind of energy of, if you're a coach or whatever, that you've got to have, we've been given this messaging about authority, right? Authoritative. And yes, we do need to let people know that we know what we're talking about. No one's going to come and work with you if you don't know what you're talking
about. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, Shannin.
I'm just going to keep talking until someone says something.
You're freezing again, babe. Oh, this is so upsetting. Come on, like, is it too much to ask to have a reliable internet connection in this day and age? Honestly, first world problems. She's gone again. Okay, so now I've got to ramble on looking at my notes. Okay, so we are talking about how to identify exactly what's keeping you stuck. So the thing is like we're talking about it from our personal perspectives as well as like what you can be doing yourself here through like your self-awareness, like introspection and stuff like that. So always there's the, I don't want to call it generic stuff, but the obvious stuff like identifying your limiting beliefs. There a lot of them are on that sort of more subconscious level, so you do have to really work hard to fucking find and unlock that shit. However, there is another way, which is what I like to do, just so that I can kind of quickly move forward, which is just say, fuck it for a minute. I've got to do this thing anyway. Okay, something's kind of like, there's resistance there. It's holding me back. Well, do you know what? I'm just going to put it to one side for now and do the thing regardless. And I can cut, this thing will make itself apparent when it needs to. So not overthinking about things sometimes has the desired effect. Certainly for me, like there's something that I call mindless mindfulness, which is being mindful of something, but then actually creating a way of incorporating it into your life that it just becomes like mindless to you. So you don't have to like, you kind of free yourself of the decision making and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, I'm doing it anyway. It's almost like, for me, it's defiance. Like I'm defying myself in a way, just like, no, I absolutely am going to get this thing done. Fuck resistance for now. And I'll come back to like looking at it, because obviously that's going to then unlock for the future in order to level up. But I'm just I'm waffling on, Shannon. Every time you go, I'm like just looking at the notes and going, right, I'm glad I've got like this chunky note thing going on here. Your poor internet connection, honestly. I'm going to write to your So I'm going to write to your MP. I'm not sure what the dealio is where you live.
I've just switched to a different network, so hopefully it won't happen again. Anyway, sorry, what can I do? This is life. It's the price I pay for living in the beautiful country of South Africa. Okay, so let's try this for the third time lucky.
3 times charm.
That's the one. So about the co-equal thing, I was trying to say that with coaches and people like that and people who are providing services, there's this authoritative sort of thing that we are told to bring. And yes, there's a level of, we need to know what we're talking about in order to be able to help somebody. But the way that the communication happens for me is really icky. And I'll give you an example. I was on a discovery call, just to briefly fill you in on this, with a coach that I found intriguing. The messaging was targeting me. But when I got onto the call with the person, it was the same old 3D, the bro marketing tactics. So, well, if you don't, book my coaching now, then what's going to happen? And I'm just like, sorry. I was so proud of myself after that, because I said to him, actually, we aren't aligned, and I ended the call. And afterwards, I ended it, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I felt like my own next cheerleader. I was so excited. I was so happy that it was like such a growth moment for me, because old me would have been like, I don't know. What should I do? And this time I was just like, actually, I don't think we're a fit. Have a good weekend. Bye. And it was great. So the co-equal communication, when you're communicating with your potential clients, it actually helps so much. I've seen this, having done DMs and stuff for clients over the years, that's bro marketing way of doing things is not reaching people. And it's no wonder. Making people feel shut, like you're telling them how much better you are than them. That's not the way to invite them to work with you, especially if you are an intentional business. If you have, if there's more to your business than just, here, come buy this red pen, The second point I wanted to add to what you had said earlier was the strategy versus our way. And this is also something that I've kind of leaned into during the last 2 weeks. I'm so grateful for the strategy that I know. I can't even describe the feeling of gratitude for all the information that I've been able to absorb over the past 3 years. It has changed my life. But the problem is that if we become a carbon copy of those people that we've learned from, that's where the imposter syndrome comes from. That is where the the doubt comes from. That's where all of that stuff is rooted, because you are not designed to be a carbon copy of somebody else. In 2023, regardless of how long you think the earth has been going, we've got a shit ton of information out there, right? And in my opinion, and the kind of people I want to work with, and the kind of business owner that I want to be, is somebody who can bring out something different, something that is unique, a new way of doing things that is more aligned with the way that all of us collectively want the world to go. And I want to be a force for that, and connecting to that, using the information that I've learned and adapting that to what I know works in a much more powerful way than just come by my red pen because this, and this is the strategy about it, you know? There is a very special piece there that I am trying to grow within me at the moment, and it's there. It's a matter of communicating it, letting it out, letting people know about it. And that's why the live stream that you did with Jana on people pleasing and that kind of thing is so valuable for people who feel stuck with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I said about the being lots of info out there. Please
just respond to that as well, because yeah, I feel exactly the same as you there. There's you know, I love to, what I find very difficult to communicate to other people is how I work with people is I bring your you-ness out of you so that collectively we can change the fucking world in making that self-acceptance and that awesomeness, that uniqueness, that you know, whatever's fucking gagging to come out of you that you can absolutely help the world with, that we can all do that as individuals. Those what our true purpose, you know, our true freaking mission on this planet, to be able to do something so beautiful and organically help one another in all of the various different ways that we need to help each other. It's such a community, you know, it's a community-led type thing, but with the individual at the heart of it, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like, yeah, that energetic shift that we need to see in the world, which is happening anyway, where, you know, women are stepping forth and stepping forward and taking shit back and saying, do you know what women do? When we get, like, money, we share. When we get information, we share. When I've got something brand new that's helped me, I fucking tell everyone about it, because I want to genuinely see other people succeed. And I want, you know, what will I do? What do I want? Financial freedom. Okay, what would I do if I had it? Oh, I'd fucking help other people have fucking financial freedom. That's what I want to do. You know, it's like, it just, and when you work with people who want that, whether it's helping them with their business, helping them with their mindset, helping them with their, you know, physical health, whatever it may be, if you are genuinely coming from a place of wanting it and you give a fuck, then that is what needs to, that's going to make the world a better place. And if everyone can bring out their unique set of abilities, which is what I help people with, right? Let's get you doing the fucking shit that lights you up, that you're fabulous at, that you're great at, that genuinely helps people, and let's get you making money from it. That's you know, like, I love my personal mission. You're the same. You do exactly the same thing, but from a different angle, using your unique set of skills and abilities. And I fucking love, like, and Camille, you know, Camille's watching, exactly the same. Like, literally, genuinely helping people with stuff that they themselves struggle with, that's going to make a massive, lasting, positive impact, not just on their lives, but when they're out there doing their thing, it has a knock-on effect, you know, and they're helping people who are helping people who are helping people who are helping people. Like, what a wonderful world that we're creating, you know? Sorry, that was a passion rant.
I love those moments. Those are the moments that just make these kind of conversations so exciting. And life-changing. And I wanted to refer back to that self-awareness cycle. Being that we work together, I've had a look at your the ultimate guide that you put out, and I want to say that for people who don't understand what Louise is talking about with the self-awareness, I'd like to give you a personal example from these last 2 weeks that relates to the resource that Louise has just put out with regards to self-awareness. Now, I've got this, like, a little thing that I fill in every morning, and it helps me to set my intentions for the day, right? And for the period, okay? Once I know what my intentions are, and I'm clear about that, I can't even describe, first of all, how mind-blowing it is when by the end of the day, when I reflect back on that, holy cow, that intention actually became part of my day. And number two, once I became disciplined with keeping track of things. Now, everyone's different, okay? I started in a paper journal and I moved over to a digital journal just because I like to have, well, I guess privacy is also part of it. I always worry, like, what happens if someone reads my journal? When I was a little girl, I had one of those with a little lock on it. Anyway, cute side note, whatever. But with regards to filling that in, the self-awareness is about starting to realize what is throwing me off track. You'll start picking up patterns of things that throw you off track. I interacted with this person today. It made me feel like that. I just did things this way today and it was a total disaster. I ended up working till midnight. I did it this way today and it worked really well. I had such a great day. I felt so productive. I felt so proud of myself at the end of it. And it's by picking up these patterns that you get to the point that Louise has been talking about how she helps people. So if you don't know what this self-awareness is that she keeps referring to, please go and have a look at that resource that she's put out, because that little tracker and everything that goes in there explains it so powerfully.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for clarifying, because I do really struggle to explain myself sometimes. I'm not especially articulate. It's like this weird, going back to, being personal and getting stuck and stuff like that. I have this weird thing where I feel that I often over-explain things, and so in order to combat that, I under-explain things, because I think, I don't want to teach you how to suck eggs. Like, you already understand, so I'm basically just going to touch upon it rather than go into more depth in it, and that's something that's kept me stuck, certainly in the content that I put out there, because even when I very first started out, when I was a VA, I didn't know what tips to put out there, because I thought, well, if I know it, everyone knows it. Mistake number one is doubting your own set of, like, your capabilities and your knowledge and your skill set. I just thought it was, obvious. And actually, weirdly, it was my brother that pointed that out to me. And he said, you do know, like, you do so much stuff that other people just shit at. Like, you really should be charging for this. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, but it's kind of like not undermining myself, but sometimes you just think, oh, well, if I'm capable, everyone's capable. Sort of doing yourself a bit of a disservice there, really, I think. And it's like, but it doesn't come naturally to other people like it does, like, whatever it is that is your intrinsic, ability, that doesn't necessarily come naturally to other people. And so to be able to help them with those things, like you just beautifully articulating what that tracker does, I'm very, very grateful that you did that, because I can't explain shit.
This is the whole thing about collaborating with people and aligning yourself with the right community. And something amazing happened. I won't go into too much detail here, but what you were saying about community earlier and about all of us in this community of people who want to do good things, and why that's so powerful is that a lot of people have this kind of thing of everything is about money. I can't because I don't have money. And that is so untrue, because your intentions are super powerful, as I said just now about the tracker. I've been able to change my life without having $1 billion to invest in things because of my intentions. And other people that I have since met, I have just by extension gifted them that same, like, reciprocity, if you want to call it that, or for lack of a better word, maybe. So where I can see that somebody really needs help with something, because I have received, I can then also give, you know what I mean? So I've received this information. Some of the things I had to pay for, some of the things I worked in exchange for, there's different energy exchanges that you can offer. So if there's anybody watching this who feels like, well, I can't because I don't have money, never let that be the thing. Never let that be the thing. Because there is somebody out there who has received something and wants so desperately to reciprocate, because in the universe, we all know you get what you give. Your life is a mirror for everything that you are. So anyway, I wanted to add that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I've done, I've had the same experience myself. It's, I have invested money in, obviously, things. But the problem has been for me, which is obviously what I help other people with as well, is that I was unable to complete the things that I'd invested in because there was this stuckness in me. Getting over the stuckness, if that's a word, has enabled me to go back to the things that I've invested in and start to fucking do them, because I've got through the bullshit that stopped me from actually moving forward with the stuff that is going to, the pragmatic stuff that is going to help me, in my business, in my personal life, all of those things. So absolutely, it's really, really important what you just said. And definitely going back to the patterns and, pattern recognition and the habits on that tracker. I like to call it the ebbs and flows of energy as well, because for me, there are obviously, let's say, physical things that are going to have an effect, but also your natural kind of, your natural rhythm, your circadian rhythm, whatever you want to call it. And then identifying. So for me, if I get up at 7 o'clock, this is where my madness comes in. Obviously, I get up at 4:30 in the morning, for anyone who doesn't know, because I'm a fucking nut job, apparently. But if I get up at 7:30 in the morning, then I'm basically a little bit brain dead after about 4 p.m, regardless of what time I've got up, right? So after 4 p.m, I'll have some dinner and I might watch some shit on Netflix, and then, go to sleep. And then what a waste of so many hours I've removed my brain. The brain's out, and I've spent maybe 5-6 hours with my brain out. If I get up at 4:30, well, I'm not going to just get up and start watching telly, or do you know what I mean? I'm straight in the zone. As soon as I wake up, I feel creative anyway, which is not the same for everyone. So I'll do a couple of hours of something creative, have a coffee, gear myself up, do a workout, do a bit of yoga, and then it's it's still only 8 o'clock in the morning when I start actually sitting down and kind of working, and things like replying to emails and stuff like that. You're doing that before the rest of the world's woken up, so you get replies. So it's you're just literally chucking shit out the door. You're just getting so much stuff done. For me, that really, really works. For other people like yourself, you come alive later on, don't you? So your creative kind of spurt is later on in the day, where mine's completely waned. But I wouldn't have known that had I not sat and tracked that and identified it on a day-to-day basis for at least a week, where I'm actually, do you know what? This is how I need to adjust my day in order to benefit from each section, let's say, of that day, how I can be more effective and more efficient and more productive, and also have time to do fuck all if I want to. So I've got my workout in, I've got my yoga in, I've got my meditation in, I've got my lying on my Shakti mat, I've got all the different things that I want to include in my day outside of the chunk of the day where I actually sit down and get some work done. I've got, it's like time's expanded for me. It's like I've got more time. That's how it feels. It feels like I basically, in a nutshell, I feel like I've chosen to say time is abundant. I don't feel like I've got no time. I haven't said it for ages. There's just not enough time. I've got all the time in the fucking world, mate, because I've adjusted my day in a way that works for me. And I feel like that is the key, because everybody, if you can do that, that is where the good. It's like I call it mad shit. That's where the mad shit starts happening. It's mental, honestly. It's incredible. It's not difficult. That's the thing. It's not a difficult thing to do. Exhibit that awareness, identify that stuff, and then sort of say, okay, well, this is what I need to do then. Do it. And before you know it, you're like, oh, my world's better. Literally, everything's just easier. So, and when you're happier, everything becomes easier. Resistance, you're like, I don't want to do this thing. Oh, I've just got to get on with it. And you do it. You don't go, and kick off about it. You just do it because you're like, oh, fucking, all right, I'll just do it then. I say it's silly little things, but they're really, really impactful, meaningful things. Sorry, I'll keep going.
I could give you a great practical example of what you've just said. Over the past 2 weeks, you would be interested to know, having worked with you, as I said before, some of the things that are in that resource that you put out have been playing on my mind this week as I've naturally absorbed that information, but also using a bit of my own source with that. So on a practical level, what Louisa's just said about figuring out what you need to ditch. Sometimes if you're in a position like me where you've got clients, you have responsibilities, you are part of your business is not just to work on your own all day, you've got responsibilities for other people, right? And it's not like an online store where if you just don't put something out to say, come buy my red pen, then it's not the end of the world. These deadlines. There's a way that you can be kinder to yourself with the things that you do. And it's also a matter of communicating that. So, for example, if I could say to one of the clients that I do engagement for, just so you're aware, I've outsourced this task to this person that I've been working with for a long time. They've been trained by me, and I am overseeing what they are doing, but I'm working on something else in the background. Now, you don't need to elaborate depending on the relationship you have with your clients, but I've done that. I've taken one of the tasks that has freed up an hour extra of my day, and on the practical level that I promised you, when I freed up that extra hour a day, I'm happy to pay somebody else to do that task for me so that I can go through these things. Now, how do you go through these things on a practical day when you still have shit to get done? So this is the thing where you have to see what your schedule is like. It might be that for some people, when they get home from their day job or whatever, they might be able to do, if they still side hustling their business, this kind of thing in the evening. But for me, I work from home, I work from myself. So the way that I did it was to increase in the last live stream we did, I told you that I have a section in my calendar called Get Going. And this is my special time. Don't with my special time. Like, you know, so what I did was I increased that amount of time in the morning. And I increased the things that I actually did in that time. So I worked with somebody called Ilse earlier this year with gene keys and human design, and she gave me the most beautiful things to refer back to. So I set time aside to do the tapping with the affirmations that she designed specifically for my gene keys. I spend extra time doing my journaling. I spend extra time working with my essential oils, connecting, asking for, this might be different for whoever watches this, but I call it source, connecting with source and asking for the guidance that I need in that time, really putting the extra time in. I joined also a membership. So go and get resources, surround yourself with the people who are going to help you with where you're stuck now. So I joined a membership with people who I resonate with, long story short, and it's about connecting with your intuition, right? And so that's part of what I wanted to do. And so I joined that. So I spend that extra hour that I've now delegated to somebody else. I've added that extra hour into my morning, and I've managed to increase the amount of time I spend doing those things that I know are going to get me unstuck and help me to bring out the things that I've been holding back. Because once I'm able to do that, my business is going to go from here, where I'm able to charge the same as everybody else, to here, because now what I bring, nobody else has, because I allow the time and the space for the downloads to arrive, to settle, to land, and to feel confident about.
Yeah, 100%. And you call it your getting going time. I call it my set the tone and get in the zone time, because I love a rhyme. So I do the same thing. So like my morning bit where I know I'm most creative, I'm most in tune, and I spend that time doing the things that I know I need to do to connect. And that connection then informs the rest of my day. So it's not about, like, for a lot of people, it's about zhuzhing themselves up and giving themselves a pep talk and saying, oh, we've got to get motivated. It's not that at all. Actually, it's quite beautiful experience where you're like, no, I'm connecting to myself, I'm connecting to my intuition, I'm connecting to my intentions, and you're basically, everything you're doing, whatever that looks like to you personally, you are putting yourself in that aligned zone in order to let that inform the rest of your day. And that's where the magic shift starts to happen. It's that embodiment. And then throughout the day, I might do a bit of a check-in, like, is what I'm doing now aligned, because sometimes you just think, oh, hang on a minute, why am I doing this? This isn't the right thing for me to be doing. So there's yeah, I find it really really integral for me to be able to do, you know, today's aligned action, because that's something that I always say as well about getting stuck. I think because people often are so focused on the end game that they don't remember to do the day-to-day stuff. And the way that I see it is, like, as much as you can incorporate in your day-to-day of whatever that future version of you looks like, incorporate the day-to-day, take the next step, focus on the next step, but embody the end game, if that makes sense. So you are taking a step, and that's all you need to focus on, but you are embodying this future you that is the person, you know, you are already her. Time isn't linear. You're already her. So just be her now and focus on the next step. Don't worry about all of these other steps. You don't have to do 5 years of work in one day. You know, you do the next aligned action, today's aligned action, whatever that may look like, you know. So that's another way that I managed to get unstuck, because I don't like delayed. On my last life, I was talking about, I don't like the promise, you know, of this thing. I like instant gratification. I want to fucking today, this moment. And then that's allowed me to have trust. You know, the trust is there. What I'm doing right now is the right thing for me to be doing right now. You can't get to where you want to be without having been where you are, right? That's something that I sort of say to myself all the time. So you can either berate yourself because you're not there yet. Time passes you by regardless. You might as well do the fucking thing. Do the thing. And do it today, whatever that is. Trust in the moment that you are doing the right thing. If it's aligned, you are doing the right thing. And you're embodying what's to come. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well today. I'm tired. I went on a ghost hunt last night, and I stayed up till 11:30. Which is really late for me. So I'm a little bit, I feel like I'm a bit of divvy today. Like, I'm not really
No,
allowed
I
to
actually
well.
was absorbing what you just said with lots of intrigue, what you just said. Yeah. I love the way that things just flow out of you on these live streams. It's so beautiful to watch. I want to, if you don't mind, just add one final point on the shoulds and the strategy kind of thing, that masculine energy that we spoke about earlier. And when I talk about masculine energy, I'm not talking about men, right? That's something totally different. There's this kind of, as you said earlier, something that I wanted to elaborate on with this marketing sort of thing. Like, if you want to do this, and you had an amazing reel on your page where you were talking about the voice thing. It's like a voice recording, and you're saying about how exactly about this point about people feeling like I'm trying to think of the exact words you used, but it was basically like people feeling shite because they couldn't do the thing in the way that people were telling them to do. And it's such a mind fuck, actually. So this whole thing of you should do it this way, and going back to what we were saying with the strategy and everything, is yes, there's that way to do it, but incorporating what Louise has just been saying and connecting to your intentions will inform how you use the strategy, how you implement the strategy, the energy behind the strategy. So, for example, right, let's give a practical example here. Right, anybody interested in like a practical example about engagement, maybe you want to watch the video that I posted yesterday. But I can sit here and I can deliver a training to a group of people that are not my people, and I can tell them how to do the engagement because I've seen that masculine bro marketing strategy. I've seen that work, and it works. But there's a certain kind of person who enjoys and feels more aligned with and is much more able to actually set time aside to do this intentionally and then connect with a much different kind of person by doing engagement in a totally different way. So there's more than one different way that the same strategy can be done. It's how you intend to use it and allowing what feels right to you to be okay and to not feel shit about yourself. Like for a long time, the 2-week break that I told you I've just taken, oh my God, it would have eaten me alive. It would have been so difficult for me to just come back without having to be like, well, I was dizzy and I did this, it was bad, and it's just, oh, you know. Now it's just like, here's my next post, take it or leave it. And it's so freeing to be able to give yourself permission to pull back when you need to. And there's like a metaphor, if you don't mind me sharing this with here, Louise, a metaphor for this flow that I had in a download this morning that I haven't refined yet, but I'd love to try it with you here. And it's like, the way that I thought about it was like a breath. If you think about your content as a breath, right? Now, under normal circumstances, and this can apply not just to content, but with so many things in life, the things that we're just doing automatically, like breath. So if you're just breathing in your normal breath, that's just your daily, I'm putting out content and whatever, right? But there's a way to expand that, and it's that pause. So if you think about the breathing in as the absorbing of information, right? All the strategy that we've been learning, all the things that we're experiencing in life and that we're trying to incorporate into what we do and to make our packages and our offers and our things just so much more us, right? So as you breathe in, that's that expansion taking place. And when you're breathing out, that's you putting the content out into the world. Okay. Yeah. Now, when you get to the end of your breath and there's nothing left there, hold that breath and wait for the moment when you just can't wait to breathe in again. And it's that pause at the end that is what I've just described here over these past 2 weeks. I've squeezed out everything that I had and I allowed myself to hold at the end. And when I breathed in, I was like, wow. Yeah. Because now I'm allowing new things in. And if you think about that metaphor as a capacity, right? My lung capacity is expanding. My diaphragm control is expanding. And then when I start releasing this content, what happens, right? If you think about a singer who's beginning to learn, breathing is part of the thing that they do. Now, if you're going to go, and you're not practice, it's going to be like, shaky. So think about that in terms of content. Is it being something that's coming out of you inconsistently? It's a bit of a mess. But as you allow this and you allow that pause at the end before you breathe in again and start to push out, as you train your rib cage in this metaphor and your diaphragm, you become able to start pushing that air out, or that content in this example, smooth and consistent for longer periods at a time. And that's why it's okay to take a break, to press pause, to retune and do everything that you'll find in Louise's offer in her. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Does that make sense? Tell me. This was the first time ever telling it to anyone.
I love it. I absolutely love that. It makes so much sense and so beautifully put. Like, I absolutely adore that. It's perfect. And it's made me think about doing, so when I do like Shakti dancing, and there's a bit where you're doing like Kali, kind of like in the warrior goddess, and you're like, and you have to do these breaths out, and you have to like really let all of that noise out. And what I find every time I do it is, even during one session, when you do the first one, it's coming from here, and then as you breathe in, as you say, and you do the next one, it comes from lower down, and then it goes lower and lower and lower, and before you know it, it's coming from the pit of your soul. And that is where, and it's controlled. It's not contrived, it's controlled. And it's having that ability to release things from, expand, and then release from the absolute fundamental core of you in a way that is controlled. And I feel like that's also, kind of like not an addition, but that's what I'm thinking when you're saying what you're saying. And that as you say, that pause is so necessary to allow, because if you keep filling space, you're not allowing anything new to come into that space. So it's about the expanding of that space in order for you to be able to release more. And it goes back to that energetic exchange, that give and take. The more I can receive, the more I can give, and vice versa. It's just, I love it. No, I fucking love that. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Such a lovely
So
way of
how
putting it.
this is, oh my gosh. So now how do you get the self-awareness to know whether you're bullshitting yourself and being like, I just need to receive a new download because I have no inspiration? Or are you being a lazy bitch and not pushing yourself forward towards your goals? Or is this really a period that you need to, press pause in? How do you find that out? And this is where what you do is so helpful to people, because sometimes, like, there have been times, sure, that I should have been doing something. I know what I'm supposed to have done, and I had planned that, and I was excited for that, and then I let myself get thrown off course by maybe reverting back to some old people-pleasing behaviors. This is a relevant example for me. So somebody will message me and ask me for help, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to help them. But it ends up taking 2 hours. And instead of doing that I was supposed to have done for me, for myself, for my client, for my business, for my big intentions and goals, I ended up reverting back. Now, to bring yourself to the place of knowing whether the pause after you've breathed out that I just described is needed, or if you're just being full of shit, please refer to Lou. She can help you with that.
Yeah, because it is, I mean, I question things a lot with myself, and I think, is this resistance or procrastination or whatever it may be, is it due to fear, or is it due to avoidance, or is it due to the fact that I just don't want to do it, right? And if it's something I don't, and so you have to sort of figure it out, because I just think, like, sometimes it's because it's outside of your comfort zone. Well, we have to then continue in order to grow into a new comfort zone. Like, make this, get uncomfortable in order to allow new things, and then you can get comfortable there. Every time that you have a freaking level up, you're going to have to go through that uncomfortable thing. Embrace it, accept it. Like, it's part of life. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's part of the human condition, the human experience, whatever it may be. Same as like imposter syndrome. Like, you're not the only one who's experiencing this. You can just get over it. Like, these things are so important, and to call yourself out on your own shit is so important. Say, like, well, no, I'm fannying about because I don't know what, I'm a bit scared. Oh, I'm scared in case, I talk about, like, I whinge about my dad a lot on live streams, and I'm like, I didn't used to, because I thought, oh, what if? He's never going to fucking watch one of these. And if he does, hi, Dad. He'll be like, well, come on, mate, that's not really very fair, is it? And I'm like, whatever. So, it really boils down to really thinking about how much do these things matter? I think that when you're holding yourself back, you know what, number one, you're not doing the shit that lights you up, but secondly, you're withholding stuff from other people that you can help them with. You're doing other people a disservice, not just yourself. And if you've got something incredible that you want to put out into the world, but you're worrying, I don't know, you're saying, oh, well, but I need a pretty website before I can do this thing. Well, all you're doing is making people wait longer, and maybe they will never find you. Like, it's your duty, if you've got this awesome shit to share, it's your duty to put it out into the world so that other people can benefit from it. So even if you think about it in that sort of way, if accountability is what motivates you to fucking just go, all right, I need to do it, then use it. But identifying this stuff is so integral, because then you can actually start to do something about it. And it's, for me, I like to do, a mixture of, pragmatic, but also, you've got the mindset. I do stuff with, like, I do a lot of, like, nervous system work, and, obviously I'm very spiritual person as well. So, I'm always consulting the fucking Akashic records and things like that. But these, for me, are the tools which enable me to then take actual pragmatic aligned action. Because otherwise, you have to take action. You can't just sit and wish and wait, because it won't fucking happen. It's bollocks. Anyone who says they're just talking shit. So, get that out of your head straight away, because that's you bullshitting yourself. And then what's going to happen? Oh, I've been wishing and waiting for such a long time and nothing's happened. Well, why is the universe against me? It isn't. Sometimes the universe doesn't give a flying fuck about you. We have to remember that. But secondly, you have to take actual fucking aligned action yourself. You have to, and so, you know, that self-analysis and that self-awareness, and then the self-acceptance that comes with that, and embracing all that you are, not ignoring your flaws and saying, oh, this is just how I am. No, it's about saying, okay, there are things that I need to work on as well. Work on those things. It's a fucking massive journey that is never, ever, ever going to end. And you're already on it, whether you're aware of it or not. So you might as well just fucking embrace it and make it work for you. Make life work for you, not to you. You know, these are the things that kind of rocked my world when I started on this journey. And it's taken years for it to be able to be a tangible thing that I can not just express, but work with other people on. And I feel absolutely called to do this. You know, it's something I've come back to it time and time again. I qualified as a life coach when I was 21. I'm 41 now. So coming back to the same thing, helping people move through their shit, I come back to it, no matter what modality I've taken, no matter how I've packaged it historically, it all boils down to the same fucking stuff at the end of the day. And now it's just my mission to present it in a way that people are like, right, okay, yeah, this makes sense for me. Do you know what I mean? Because the desire to help and the way in which I help has never fucking changed, not once. So, you know, it's about making it more palatable by, I don't know, swearing more at people.
Love it.
Fucking sort it out.
Imagine that. You know what I'm going to do? The next time I know I'm being full of shit, I'm going to hire you for an accountability coach for the day. So you can scream at me on WhatsApp or Voxer all day, every day. Take it down.
Yeah, I'll be like, oi, like, you know, well, I mean, there's so many silly little examples where I've helped people give themselves permission, and the one that's just sprung to mind, which is the most ridiculous one, was when my niece lived with me. She said she moved in when she was 21, and then she said to me one morning, she said, I wish I could have pasta for breakfast. And I was like, who's stopping you? She was like, fuck, like anyway, it changed the world. It did. And then another pasta related incident with her was that I put 2 different types of pasta. You know, I did something with I think I'd like macaroni, and then I don't know, and then another, like the little bows, fusilli, or no, what are the little bows? Fusilli? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, and I put 2 different types of pasta in a dish, and she was like, this is fucking mind blowing, you know. And I'm like, why are you preventing yourself from doing things? Like, you've got no rules, only those that you're putting on yourself. So fucking change them. Fuck the ones you think you know. Change them to suit you. And you know, even tiny little things like having pasta for breakfast can make all the difference.
Yeah. It just points out to you. It just shows
you. Oh no, you've frozen again, Shan.
Oh no!
You're laughing at my pasta comment. Oh, here she is. You're coming back.
Oh yeah. Yes, I was hoping myself at your pasta comments, and I just think it's amazing how just the simple things like that, like the pasta example that you just gave, can help us to snap out of it and realize how much we are stuck in what we've been told and not giving ourselves even an iota of freedom, though most of us want a business that gives us freedom. That's why we start these businesses in the freaking first place. And yet, every opportunity that we have for freedom, we deny ourselves that freedom. And I'm guilty of this too. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I've got the cure. I'm just being honest. But at the end of the day, something I really want to say is, when I read over the journal prompts that you put in that freebie, that resource that you did, I was like, where was this list of journal prompts when I first started? Because I went straight for the courses, the information. Tell me, I need to learn all these things. I had to, because I had to shift from something that I was doing for over a decade for work. And when I lost my job in the pandemic, now now, you know, better get started over here, because what am I going to do? And so I had no choice at that stage. I didn't have the luxury of, let me connect for an hour and a half every morning, you know. It was like, how are we going to eat? And I get that. If there's anyone who's watching this on the replay who, oh, I get that, message me. I just want to send you something. But that's, now I've got the kind of thought. The journal prompts, going back to that, is that if I had done those kind of journal prompts together with this stuff, oh, things would have been so much easier for me.
Yeah,
Because no, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was just saying that those journal prompts were, it's like questions that you ask yourself that seem so simple. But when you really actually sit and think about it, you're like, it's the same as the pasta example you just gave. It's like, well, actually, I've never thought of it that way. And it sounds so simple, but when you really put the time aside and you think about that and you fill it in and you commit to working through that, I know from personal experience, even though I didn't have the luxury of having that resource available to me when I started, that this will give you the shift. If you're feeling stuck right now, it will really help you. I wish that I had those journal prompts and that insight into what was keeping me stuck and what was keeping me, to be honest, in the makeup industry. That I love the makeup. I mean, I've got a whole cupboards full of the stuff because I love the creative outlet and the self-care associated with it. But that's not my purpose in life. And I clung to that because that's what I knew people were expecting of me. Whereas if I had followed those journal prompts that you have, for example, that would have helped me just to see how simple it is. No one else needs to give me permission to change my niche except for me.
Yeah. And that's really interesting you say that, because I did exactly the same thing when I left employment and started out, on my own. I had no plan. I just sort of rage quit my job and went, right, fuck it. And immediately dumped a shit ton of money into a course that made big promises, which I've never even gone, this was what, 6 years ago. I've never completely done it because I was lost at the first hurdle. I didn't understand the purpose of it. I didn't know why. I didn't know, and I convinced myself that this was going to be difficult as well. That's the other thing. I convinced myself that things were going to be hard. And then I treated my business like I was an employee for several different people for a good 2 years, actually. Every client wasn't a client, they were a boss. It really, you don't know what you don't know, so you don't know where to find the information or whatever. It's like you kind of stumble upon this stuff sometimes. But the thing is I'd already, for years and years and years, even since I was, maybe 11 or 12, I've done mindset work. I've done, this drive to know myself, and to accept myself, and then to inspire other people into action to do the same for themselves. Has been there since I was a child. In fact, probably, if I sat and thought about it, I could think of examples from when I was, when I was a kid. But it was like, okay, now I'm in unfamiliar territory, so I need to do it quickly, and I need to do it in a way that is promising me that this is going to pan out, kind of thing, like this will work. Personally, I think that, again, like you're saying, if I'd have done this stuff at the beginning of my journey, in terms of, coming from employment into being self-employed and starting my business, then it would have made a vast fucking impact, a vast difference on how then the next few years actually panned out. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is even though this is the stuff that I come back to every single time, it's still taken me fucking ages to do it, because I still had to go through it in order to come out the other side to now be able to legit, from a credible place, say, no, I can help you with this stuff, because now I'm a walking, talking example of it. Whereas before, it was like, oh, I can't really do that because I'm not quite there yet, type thing. So that's another thing that sort of is a resistance or a barrier or holding yourself back. There's a lot of people out there that say, the example given is I'd never get a tattoo from somebody who doesn't have tattoos. And I think, and so they're like, well, don't hire this person to help you with this if they haven't achieved it themselves. Some of the people that I know, like social media managers or website designers, people like that, their own stuff is shit. So they ain't got time to do it. But I tell you what, they'll make yours fucking fabulous. Football coaches, they ain't kicked a ball in their fucking life, but they know. Do you know what I mean? So I don't agree with that. I don't agree, excuse me, that somebody who is, I think everybody's on a journey. Somebody who's also going through it, who is authentic enough to tell you about their journey whilst they're treading it, and then you're a couple of steps behind them. You know, they don't have to be this pinnacle of fucking achievement for you to actually listen to them. You know, you are allowed to help people who are like 1, 2, 3 steps away. And for me, that they're the sorts of people that I naturally gravitate towards. So I don't gravitate towards billionaires to teach me how to do shit, because it's generic crap. I will gravitate towards somebody who is like 1 or 2 steps in front of me, because not only is it realistic and achievable, you get much more of a personal relationship. And their advice or their strategies or their concepts or ideas or, you know, whatever it may be, are much more tangible. They're not just a blanket blueprint approach, you know, and there is that understanding that this is how it's worked for me. This is the knowledge that I'm imparting upon you. But equally, there's some other stuff that you need to work around for yourself in order to do this. You know, I can only tell you what's worked for me, but what I can tell you is that you have to find a way that works for you. And it's kind of like, it's that stuff that I think is really, really important. Oh, God. Surprised I never run out of breath. I'm like...
I'd be very upset if ever you did.
So, yeah, and the other thing I think is for people, and this is just briefly before we go, is really examining your fear, because a lot of us, like, I used to think that my fear was a fear of failure, but it wasn't. It was the fear of success, because what the consequences of that success are, you know, what does that mean? I had a client who I worked with, who it was just a bit shit, and a bit shit. I'm really underselling it there. It was fucking awful. And I was scared of, I feared success, because in my mind I'd made this kind of, I envisaged this future where if I succeed, this is what it looks like. This being beholden to people all the time. I've got to be at my desk from 9 to 5. You know, and all of this other stuff. So I put really peculiar restrictions and limitations around the idea of what success would look like once I'd achieved it. So the fear of success was pervasive. That's what was holding me back, because success looked fucking horrible. Until I worked with a coach and got to the point where it was like, no, you know, you can define your own version of success. I was like, oh, I mean, this is the most obvious thing in the world. And I was like, fuck, 2 different types of pasta. It was mental. So for anybody, you know, even going back to what I was saying before, where I was like concerned about saying obvious things, like, oh, you already know it. But sometimes it takes somebody to point it out to you for you to realise you already fucking know it. Like in a lot of my posts, I always say, like, this is not brand new information to you, but I'm just making you focus on one specific area, or I'm saying it in the way in which I say it, so that it will fucking click for you this time. You know, because all of these words get bandied around: limiting beliefs, core values, fucking authenticity, fucking this. It's losing its meaning. Losing its meaning. So to re-fucking phrase it and to get it to the point where it actually makes sense and it's meaningful for you and it has an impact and it'll allow you to move forward in some way, shape or form. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm out there trying to do and help people with. And that is what I'm doing. So yeah, I fucking love it.
This was exciting. I loved this. I feel like there were so many beautiful golden nuggets, and I appreciate the opportunity just to share openly without judgment in front of you, in front of your audience, and in front of any of mine who watch this on the replay as well. I just love you so much.
No, I love you, babe. No, thank you so much for coming on as well. I love talking to you anyway, and I feel that, you know, you and I, we just have a really, really deep connection and the conversation just flows. And I know that when we both get going, I know that for those people that need to hear this stuff, they're going to fucking take away so much. Just like, oh, yeah, you're right. And I love that. You know, that makes so much sense. And I think when you've got this sort of relationship, like, you know, having you in my world and working with you is fundamentally awesome on so many different levels because we've got that connection and we get each other, and you give a shit and I give a shit. So for anybody that wants to work with either of us, that's what you're getting on top of the pragmatics and the mindset stuff and the spiritual stuff. You're actually getting somebody who genuinely holds space for you, sets intentions for you, gives a flying fuck about what happens to you, and is, you know, all of that goes into it. You know, we are on a personal level, you know, we're connected with our clients, aren't we?
Yeah, there's something so much deeper than the dollar sign, and it makes me want to vomit. Let's not even start on that subject because we could talk another 3 hours. It's disgusting the way that people are being treated like a dollar sign online these days.
I hate it. Just another statistic. Like, nah, mate. I know. Oh,
Not
no,
me,
I've got
not
so many
you.
stories. You've sparked something in me. I want to rant about this now. All right then, my darling. Well, what we'll do, we've been on for a little while now. Only an hour and 15 minutes though, and that's quite brief, I reckon, for me anyway.
Yeah.
So
I think we got
yes,
some really awesome points in an hour.
I think like we actually got through quite a lot, didn't we? So yeah, so thank you very, very much as always for coming on live. Obviously, when I post this, I will tag you in the little bit so that anybody who wants to work with you knows where to find you. Thank you to my lot if you're watching this on replay, and thank you to Shannon's lot for watching this as well. Follow both of us because we're fucking awesome. And yeah, and we'll catch you on the dark side.
Have a good weekend. That's a lot.
Lots of love. Bye.